Welcome back to the Water Food Energy Nexus. I hope you got some food and moved around and used some energy. We will share our screen and get started. Are you hungry? Here's our food chain. We see bring the sun down to the solar energy, bring the producers, the plants and the fungi, bring in the herbivores, bring in the carnivores and omnivores, and then bring this family in the house to the very top as the top ones. All right. And so whether we're carnivores or herbivores, we are at the top of the food chain. We are reliant on all of these other things to help us produce food because we'll start here from the bottom. Food, by and large, is produced by the soil, and the soil needs to be filled with nutrients. And this looks pretty consistent over here. It looks pretty rocky and dry, but over here, there is a hum of activity going on night and day, 24/7, breaking down with insects and worms and fungi and bacteria and making this full of nutrition. This is nature's regenerative moment where things have life visually that we see, and then they go under here and activate all the things that we cannot see that help us live. So here we have seeds. Seeds are incredibly beautiful and diverse, and they are potential energy because when they wait under the ground and it gets a little warmer and a little more moist and a little more sunshine, then they can start growing. All in right here, they start already taking in carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen. Thank you, plants. And there are those microbes running around looking at all the different things that are in the ground and the fungi that create this mycelium that almost are like how your cells have those connectivities. And they have a community underground. Don't ever forget that. So everything is interconnected. This is, we won't look at it now, but it's a wonderful algae multicellular life video in water. It's from New York, Central Park. This fabulous fungi, you can't help but want to be an artist because it shows nature's artistry that you have not seen before. And it's all because someone just started to take pictures of mushrooms. And it's incredible. So we looked at water use. Let's look at the global land use. Right, 71% ocean, that leaves 29%, which is land. But of that land, about 20% is desert, grows nothing, and dunes, sand dunes. 10% are glaciers, and then the rest is habitable land. And of that habitable land, there is 1% that's like wetlands, 14% that are grasslands or tundra, and 38% that are forest. All of these have been decreased with human existence and need to be replaced. And it's also reduced the biodiversity on Earth because of the reduction of life where nature is regenerative. And then there's this little 1 to 2% of urban and built up land. But of the agricultural land, 77% is for meat and dairy livestock. All right, so those two things are big consumers of land. Only 23% is crop-based. But at 77% of the land being farmed only gives us 18% of our global meat and dairy calorie supply, whereas 62% of our calorie supply 82% comes from plant-based food. So something's wrong with this, system. And then global protein supply is 37% from meat and dairy. So it's taking that big chunk, and 2/3 from plants. One of the things you can do to reduce your footprint is to stop eating so much red meat protein. So something to think about. On the left is a student who made a map of Illinois of how much land had been cleared. It's savannas and wetlands and forest to make Illinois, an incredibly agricultural state. And on the right is just the beginning of other answers. Oh, and this is a movie you can watch, which tells the reasons that human impact and inhabitation has reduced the farmland, and then the reduction of farmland caused people to do more importation, and now they don't even grow their own, very few of their own blueberries, or they import all the things that they were growing. They're importing it because right now we have 100 planes flying above us with refrigerated grapes and arugula and avocados, and it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So we're back to cities that are using the most energy, and let's start at one of the best places that's available, the rooftops. So we do a green roof journey that students can identify the layers, the different plants that are growable year-round. They may hibernate in the winter, even here in Chicago, but they poof, come back. And then we give them a map, or they can take a map of their own city and make it a green roof garden. So students from the Art Institute and I made the first Chicago green roof for the late Mayor Daley. And there was one green roof, which is over here on City Hall. It was half of the roof. And now there's over 5,000 of the roofs, and you can go on the green thing and say whether it's public if you have access to it or if it's private. And this is still a really useful because it will tell you the plants that you can choose from. Here, it's an intensive green roof because people are up there and there might be some trees growing. And soon it was built, it's like a prairie in the Acropolis, and there are bees and there are birds. It brings back the biodiversity of life. There are bats and everything. And then down here, you can watch some videos of what it's like and what the benefits are. It cleans the air. One side where the green roof is, when it was 100, was 90 or 85 degrees because there's a little breeze with all those leaves moving and shade. The other, when it was just the air conditioning, was 110. It gives you an idea. So let's move on and find those grasslands that have been used up, but can we use them now in different ways? This, like the soil, is the story of why we need these grasslands. This is what people who put pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides and artificial, chemicals in there to grow that green grass, to mow it, level. This is really what wants to happen by nature, above and below. So one of the students in one of the eco design class tracked the water from the lake all the way to their house, all the different filtering and transition. We have one of the largest filtration plants. It's like 264 square miles. So can you imagine going to the house at the end? And she said, why can't we be more productive? These are all the fire hydrants that are used once in 10 years, if at all, in downtown Chicago. Let's move it up on the sidewalk, take that one parking lot, make it a bioswale. And that way, when it rains, the water can take it in, and we can have birds here in the streets and things. And then let's just get rid of some of these vacant lots and then only one level parking lots and replant nature, bring it back. Build it and grow it, and it will come. Here is a year-round roof garden and classroom in Chicago, 1,000 pounds of produce grown each season. And they have zipper tents, it's like little greenhouses that they use. This is why it's important to have plants, grasslands, and trees, and so on, because of photosynthesis and the amount of the air that they clear. Growing food, we have many journeys. This is Michelle Obama's take at the balanced plate. We have a lot on food culture in different countries, how to grow food in different ways. So let's get started. The balanced food plate, you try to see if you're getting protein and vegetables, fruits, oils, dairy, and grains. And then you track your food miles it took to get 1 day of eating. And you know what? You will be surprised. This college student almost fell off their chair, 19,800 miles a day for food. Think about it. Something has to change. It used to be in 1950, it was mostly agrarian cultures who grew their own food locally. And there are many countries that still do that. They don't have the money to fly it around or even train it around or truck it around. So think about it. And then what does 100 calories look like? And how many calories should you be eating a day? And how do you burn calories? And what does that look like? And now let's look at the largest green roof urban agricultural farm in the world. It's in Paris, and it produces more than 10 tons of produce each season. It's on a convention center, so there's always needing food there. It's by several prominent hotels on the outskirts and restaurants. We also can look at urban agriculture, which was the beginning of community gardening. I think one of the oldest one is in Boston there. And you can grow fast-growing vegetables like kale and arugula. And here's one by a bike trail it's 20 years old now, and it's so grown up and well populated. You can grow it in streets just by bags, sandbags, and filling it with dirt. So you can take over and recreate nature again. The vertical farming where you stack things, so there's not just one level of tomatoes throwing, really multiplies it tenfold. I'm so excited to share with you this vertical harvest farms because I discovered them maybe 10 years ago out in Wyoming. They now have one in 4 other places in the United States. They not only produce food, they control the water use. They control how much each tray gets sunlight, or they have growing lamps. And they also bring people who are underserved, who are not working, and give them food care and food production jobs. It's amazing. And this is how beautiful the food looks. Inside, you don't need the pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides because you can control the insects, you can control the predators that eat, and you can grow with soil and without soil. Other cities are catching on, like this district, an urban agricultural district. There's vertical growing towers, there's ones in the ground. Dubai has just started in 2022, the world's biggest vertical farm. They're growing 24/7. It's a very clean operation. The food is loving it. You can also grow living walls outside on the space of your buildings or inside in your schools, and you can grow food there. You can be cleaning the air. These are different sections of different systems that will hold those plants. You can even just grow food in water. There you will be with pills, kind of giving it its nutrients, and it's very clean, doesn't get dirty and clogged. You can bring fish in that will give the nutrients in the lower level. And this was Sweetwater, which was one of the slow food and secure food. Look at the oregano down there and rosemary. This was a college project of a vertical aquaponics system. You can see the dog liking the hum of the fish and the plants growing. It really starts with school gardens, though. If every school has a garden and every child knows what it's like to grow a tomato or a strawberry, it's a wonderful change in how we think about food being only at the grocery store. And like when we were greening this high school, you can get oftentimes Menards or Home Depot will donate the wood, maybe even the soil. You can then have it rented by the public as the outdoor garden and they can grow their food. You can find out where farmers markets are. So you need to know how secure your food is. In Chicago, they had digitized all their maps, I mean, cemeteries and commercial and housing. And then there was this one with one dot on it, like a pimple on a teenager's face. That's where they grew food that was sold in the city. That's not food security. There is actually a woman who does research on food security and came up with food deserts because those are neighborhoods that only have like a gas station selling stuff, and it's not good and healthy food. Almost every city, I'm sorry to say, has people who are hungry, children who go to school without breakfast. There is no reason. Our country alone grows at least twice as much food as we can eat, and we export it. But we need to help everyone have access to clean food. So this water, food, energy nexus, I hope has inspired you that it's all connected and that we as humans and the things we create, we need to renature and to learn from nature. Here was a black and white picture of one of the 7 industrial sites in the city of Chicago that's pretty wasteland and it needs to be bioremediated. And this is Jeannie Gang working with students to re-green and renature. And it's a wonderful expression of what the world can be, and we need to be looking for it. So we bring students and give green architecture, green neighborhood, green city workshops, people who've never had the chance to collaborate, work together, think about where we can keep the water green, where's the best place to grow food, where do we need to live, where do we need to work, can we walk there, can we take public transportation, can we connect nature, society, economy, and well-being for the future of the human economy becoming more like the regenerative circular economy of nature. So take your ecological footprint, think about this water, food, energy nexus, and email me if you have any question about any other topics. It's been a pleasure meeting with you, and I hope you see some ethical changes. Thank you so very much. Bye now.